Okay, so welcome back, guys, to another episode of our Empowered Abroad podcast. In this podcast, we talk about the students' international journey for those who are existing students with us and also those students who have empowered themselves to study abroad. Today's segment's a bit different because we're talking about the experience of international students from outside Pakistan. Three students who were my friends in university, and we're going to be talking about their experiences in university and how it was. So, for those of you who don't know, I've mentioned it before in podcast that I'm from Monash University, Malaysia. That's where I did my undergraduate degree from. The main university is located in Australia, but I was in the Malaysian branch, and these three of my friends were one of my closest friends from my university experience. So, I want them to, each of them introduce themselves one by one. So, starting from Ronnie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roni. I'm currently back in Dubai. I did my bachelor's, as Simon was saying, and I came back about last year. So far, it's been a great experience. Enjoyed it a lot and hell of a journey, if I must say.
So, Ronnie, before we move on, what are you currently doing in Dubai?
I studied marketing in Monash, and currently I'm a real estate agent in Dubai.
Okay. Asad, can you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Asad Ustad. Uh, I'm from India, and along with Saim, I did a Bachelor in Business and Commerce from Monash, and I majored in international business. Currently, I am working in Saudi Arabia.
What about you, Sherine?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sherine, and I was also in business and commerce in Monash, and I was majoring in international business management. And currently, I'm working in Indonesia in the marketing department of one of the biggest bank in Indonesia.
So that's introduction of all of them for you guys. So the first question I'm going to ask you guys for the viewers to understand is that this is a podcast about understanding how you got to university and the help which got you there. So did any one of you actually apply through agent when applying for your university applications? Because all of you from different countries, of course. Ronnie from UAE, Asad from Saudi, and Shireen from Indonesia.
I,
Did any of you seek help?
I'm from India.
Yeah, but you're currently
I'm
located in Saudi. That's why.
yeah.
Yeah. So
To answer your question, no, I haven't taken any services from any agent.
what
I,
about the rest?
yeah, I have. I remember I went to education consultancy in Dubai. I had a very good, lengthy conversation with them, and immediately they advised me for Monash, Malaysia. Malaysia for a couple of reasons. To begin with, that it is affordable, multicultural, a welcoming society, and the standard of living is good. Quality of education is good as well. And that too, since Monash was also in Malaysia, so it gave me a really good opportunity as a stepping stone. If I decide to stay in Malaysia, that's an option. If I decide to transfer, let's say, to Australia or their other campuses, that's also an option. So yeah, I did go through an agent at the time, and I'm glad I did so.
Also, Shireen, how did you come upon your application process for universities, and how did you actually eventually land upon deciding on Monash University, Malaysia?
So for me, I actually applied from also agency because educational agency is a big thing in Indonesia. So, but I think it the process is a bit different in Indonesia. You pick the country first, so you give options of what country you want to go to. Then the agent will recommend you like which universities is good in that country.
Okay, so why did you land upon Malaysia to go to, and then, of course, Monash University is one of the top tier universities in Malaysia, so that would make sense. But why Malaysia as a country?
Because it's relatively like closer to my country, and also the culture is similar. So I feel like it's better for me to adapt there than any other country.
Yeah, makes sense. Asad, what about you?
Um, my situation was different. My siblings had already been in Malaysia. My two other siblings did their bachelor's degree, and one of my eldest sibling did his master's degree and his bachelor's degree from Malaysia. So it was already clear for me from the start that I'm also going to go to Malaysia because their experience was so good and beautiful. and they had a very comforting time over there while studying in Malaysia. So it was a very clear decision from my side that I will also be pursuing my bachelor's degree from Malaysia. So that's how I landed upon Malaysia.
Okay, okay. So all of them, for those who don't know, were with me in Monash University Foundation year. We did a foundation year for Monash University in 2019, and then after that, we all progressed to Monash University, where we spent the next 3 years together. Uh, so, Asad, I want to talk about you. Can you explain about where your brothers previously studied? Because they also had their experience in Malaysia, and what specifically did they tell you about Malaysia, which then motivated you to, not look at other countries and then go towards Malaysia? Any sticking point?
Sure, not just one, many sticking points. Firstly, my brothers Saif and Nasim, just giving their names. They
Yeah.
studied in a university called Curtin. It is in East Malaysia, I believe. It is
Yeah.
in a place called Miri Sarawak. It's an island out in the outskirts of Malaysia. They did their engineering from there, and then my elder brother did his engineering from Curtin, and then he did his masters from Monash. So overall, their experience, they had told me that is very comforting, and Malaysia is a very welcoming country with different cultures. You get to interact with different kinds of people. As you can see in this hall itself, there are people from 4 different nationalities. So I had for them, it was a great experience, an eye-opening experience to get to know different cultures, and the the environment, the atmosphere of Malaysia itself was a different experience to the one we used to have. We got in India and Saudi Arabia. So it would definitely be a very good learning curve for anybody wanting to learn about the world. So in that sense, and an added point was the it is not too expensive. That I am able to
Mm.
get an Australian university uh, for a cheaper price and in a good enough country, and with almost all the benefits I would get from the Australian university.
Mm. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, Curtin University is also Australian university. For the audience who don't know, Malaysia is actually a landing point for a lot of secondary homes for the universities. It's home to Curtin University, Monash University, Nottingham University. So a lot of universities' secondary home is Malaysia, and it's a cheaper option. It's the same degree, so it only does make sense for those who don't want to go to Australia and spend so much money can come to Malaysia. So moving on, I want to ask about the fact of education. So a lot of people have this conception in Pakistan, at least, that the education level in UK or Australia generally is also high, even given that this is an Australian university. So, can you guys, maybe Ronnie, can you clarify about the level of education you received in Malaysia, and can you compare it from your O level life? So, how was the jump from O levels to university, and then the quality of education in Malaysia in general also?
Right. So I did GCSEs in O level.
Yeah,
So that was a
yeah,
very interesting experience. Um, that's what I've known for most of my time. So when I did transfer to Muffy or Monash University Foundation here, as Simon has mentioned, I did see a big difference. The curriculum was not hard to adapt to. The concepts were easily apprehended. The teachers were all welcoming. And keep in mind, this place is also very internationally friendly. And that's the main leverage point, as Simon was saying, like it's a lot of second home for many universities. So I found the quality of education to be really good. I was not surprised that it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be good, given the fact that, again, we are representing an Australian university. And of course, the education level has to match that because, when we go outside, when we go abroad, when we find our jobs, it is something to say that, yeah, I studied from a national university, um, and they would know what we were talking about. So quality of education was really good. I didn't really have any trouble adapting to it, given again it's international. Everyone was helpful, welcoming environment, and we had plenty of time to adjust to, given how much they've helped us through events as well. And simply, we also got to interact with our superiors or older students there too, so which also helped us to grasp the concepts better. So no complaints in terms of education. In fact, I was quite happy about it.
Sherine, what are your thoughts on the quality of education and the toughness? Because you also came from O level, so from that system to then go into foundation and then eventually to university. Was there any point when you found it difficult or the transition was hard for you at any point? And yeah, how did you feel generally with that transition?
I think for me, it is also quite easy to adapt because jumping from O level to because first we went to Muffy foundation year first. So they taught you like the basics in foundation year, and then you go to bachelor's later on. So in foundation year, I feel like they really prepare you for what's coming in next to the with the exams and the essays and what do they expect from you. So they teach you all that in foundation year. And what Ronnie said about the environment and they're very welcoming, it is very true, especially when you travel far away from home. You really need your the place you're living next is comfortable and welcoming.
Hmm. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, Shireen, sticking with you, I want to ask you there aren't too many cultural differences in Indonesia and Malaysia. They're quite similar countries. And that's also one of the big reasons why you wanted to go to Malaysia, right? Because for Pakistanis and, of course, Indians also, it's quite a big cultural difference to go to a country like Malaysia, right? And it's not as big as of a cultural difference to you. So, for someone who isn't transitioning to such a big difference, what is your advice for students who come from countries like Pakistan, India, because you have friends from Pakistan, India, and UAE. So, what's your advice to such students when they come to Malaysia in terms of making friends or socializing?
I feel like you don't have to be afraid of like talking to the locals there because they're actually quite open to foreigners and they would happily show you around the campus around the country and really they're really open to teach to learn new cultures and also like share the cultures even with my culture from Indonesia and I'm also Chinese and so I like to share a lot about my cultures also religion and yeah we're just keep an open mind and have fun.
Okay. So, this is a question to all of you. What do you think is the best advice you would give for international students, right? Of course, coming from Pakistan, a lot of you have Pakistani friends. I'm one of them. So, advice to those Pakistani students who want to make friends and get to know people from different nationalities. Any one of you can answer that.
Mm,
Um, it's not too complicated. It's essentially it all goes down to respecting the other person's culture and the way that person is brought up. And it won't take you long enough to connect with that person. And it's pretty much that's it. Normally, what happens is I've realized this within the Desi community is if we
Yeah,
go abroad, we naturally tend to start hanging out with people with other Pakistanis or Indians.
yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
so the but because we are not too comfortable with understanding the way the other persons have the other culture, so it just comes down to respecting the other person's culture, the way they were brought up, their rules, then however they live their life. And you won't take long to try put yourself in their shoes and understand them as a human being, and it becomes easy for you. You just have to be open to yourself, open to them, and you will slowly start making friends. And Malaysia being such a open place, it makes it a lot more easier because you will find a lot of people there in the same shoe as you who want to socialize with people from outside of their countries and make new friends, and increase their horizons in their social group.
Hmm. Ronnie, building upon that, can you give like two, three ways, like specific ways that you can make friends? Like, should we be part of society as the international student community? Should we just hang out where all the international students hangs out? Should we be living in the same residence where all the international students are? What's the best way, two, three ways you can say of making friends outside your home country?
I mean, definitely starting from the classes itself. Typically, in a single class, especially in Monash, you would find so many nationalities in there. And building on what Asad was saying, everyone there is also there for the same goal. They want to get their degree, they want to explore a bit of the world, and then they want to probably go back. So similarly, you would easily find like-minded people. And in the class, once the classes are done or right before, there's plenty of chance to talk to anyone there. Again, given that you have a common subject, which is the class, and then what people typically do around campus or outside. So I'd say firstly the classroom. Another thing would be the social clubs or the societies they have within the campuses. They provide ample, whether it's Sunway University or Monash University, they provide ample societies for everyone. You can find all ranges from sports to politics to talk, podcasts, anything. There's a big range for all of it. So from that too, you can find people you find in your class in such societies. You can meet them. You can talk to their friends. You get to know more and more people. So by the more time you spend on campus, more time you interact with people, even small talk here and there, you'll definitely get to know everyone since everyone's there on the same campus again with the same goal. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Okay, so it's basically sticking to the basics, right? Going to class, making friends over there, being part of clubs and societies, trying to make friends over there.
Mm.
And yeah, so do you want to say something?
Yeah. I just want to add that to the clubs and societies point, there are clubs and societies according to your interests. So you can just, if
Yeah,
you love cricket, you can just go join the cricket club, and you will be most likely to find people with the same love for the
yeah.
sport. On the other hand, I joined the theater club and the dancing club, and it was a great experience for me where I got to learn new things. So you can try those things as well, where you can go out of your comfort zone and learn new skills. That way, you can bond with other people, the group you are with over there.
Mm. Okay, so another question I would just want to lay out for all of you. It's a bit academic related, and that is that, like all of you just mentioned, that you did your O levels, then you came to do foundation in Monash, and then continued your bachelor's.
Mm.
So O levels is of course a UK based system, and then we came and then we studied in an Australian based system. So if you compare your O levels with your Monash University degree in terms of your assignments, the type of education, and the workload, what differences would you see in your O level system and then of course university system? Granted, they are different levels. One's a much higher level, but what differences did you see in both the systems?
Well, for me personally, I did GCSEs in the year 2018.
Hmm.
And the main difference I would see is the difference of the marking structure and the type
Hmm.
of assignments we have. In GCSEs,
Yeah,
at least at that time, everything, I think 99% of all our work was exams, papers, sit 2, 3 hours, finish it and go home. The biggest difference I found was the group work or the assignment work, where you have a given deadline, let's say 2 to 3 years, you assign 3, 4 group members, then work accordingly to achieve that. So I think that was the biggest difference that I found, which again was also intriguing because it also opens up the idea of how to interact with people, how to set limits within
hmm,
our own group, to designate what to who. And it's not just about, sitting down for 2, 3 hours and then just finishing that paper and leaving. So I'd say that's the biggest difference. And in a way, it's also good because you also get to interact directly with these people. So from them, you can learn whatever else you need within that subject, or you can have good convos also outside the whole uni experience as well. So I think that's the biggest difference I found.
Sherine, Asad?
And Australian system. Sorry, were you saying something?
No, no, I was just saying you one of you can speak. It's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the Australian system, the biggest difference for me was everything is on a week to week basis. So they will take you step by step throughout the course. They will plan out everything as on a week to week basis, that on this week you will have this assignment due, this week you will have this group work due, and throughout the week these are the activities you will do, these are the activities you will have to finish. So it was very
Yeah,
thoroughly planned throughout the week, so you can take it step by step. And if you don't if you are having troubles in, like, let's say week 8, week 9, you can go back a couple of weeks, go through all the material again and understand, and then you can come back to your current week. So in that sense it was very thoroughly planned out throughout the whole semester to make the student ease into the subject and understand it more better. And other than that, mostly the points Ronnie said about the marking system and other things he said. That's pretty much it. And it was a very comfortable environment for somebody to learn, especially going from O levels then through the foundation year. The foundation year is basically it prepares you for university on how you're going to be studying. So it eases you into the Australian system of studying. So that is, if you have done the foundation year, it will help. If not, if you go directly to Monash University as well, or any other university, Australian university, they make it easy for you to understand how they're gonna be carrying out the semesters.
Actually, I'd
Yeah,
like to add to that as well. A lot of the assignments are building up to other bigger assignments during the sem. So it's not like you're faced after 6, 7 weeks of nothing with just one big paper, one
yeah,
6,000,
yeah,
1,000 word. A
yeah.
lot of the
That's a
assignments,
big difference.
yeah, a lot of the assignments, as Asad is saying, that it builds up slowly through like coordinated times, and then you will find it easier to actually learn. And during the exam time, you can simply, as Asad said, you can look back, you can easily grasp the idea after. I mean, you have done it, so it's easy.
Because it is so, I think because it is so thoroughly planned, it makes it easier for you to communicate amongst your classmates, and that is another way you can make more friends, because they also know what's coming and they're also worried about it, and then you can help each other.
Yeah.
Sherine, would you like to add something?
I actually I really agree with the clear structure of the Australian system, but what I really like about like the Australian curriculum is that we don't have thesis at the end of our year, because other university, I think in UK, or they have like thesis, and it really the one of the advantage of going to an Australian university is that you don't have thesis. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and building on what all of you said, I think the biggest difference, because we have students who go to UK, of course, our CEO also studied from UK, and we place a lot of students over there too, is the fact that similarly to UK, but very different actually from the GCSE system, GCSE system, there are assignments and presentations throughout the year. And I think, at least for
Mhm.
someone like I can speak for all of us actually, it helps students like us to actually get grades throughout the year, because not all of us, in fact, most of us are not good at just cramping everything at the end of the years in exams, right? I mean, for all of you, frankly, listening, there's a reason that we all went to foundation because of not having the best grades. But and then after that, we went to Monash University, and then we did well for ourselves, and now we're all doing good. But that's the biggest factor, that we have presentations, assignments, and we have a lot of opportunities consistently, like as I said, on a weekly basis to prove ourselves, and not only just one exam. So there's a division between internals, which are presentations and assignments, and then the final examinations. So there's always a chance for you to cover up your mistakes which you make either in your internals, which are presentations, assignments, or then vice versa in your exam. So I think that's a very big benefit, and that applies for the UK system, Australia system, and to some degree also the US system for all those who are watching. So
And having
yeah,
a consistent
yeah.
amount of presentations was also a good thing. The
Why did you prefer
presentations
that?
help. No, because you having to do presentations is a very good important factor, especially in the business field, where you get to learn how to speak in front of a crowd, and
Yeah,
that really matters. You have to prepare yourself something yourself with a group of people, and then you go and present it on a stage full of your friends, basically in front of your class, and that
yeah,
is
and
very beneficial, because every subject has at least one or two presentations you will have to give, and which I think is a very important factor for any business student.
Hmm. And the reason that that's so important and helpful is because the reason that you're presenting in front of people from different nationalities. The first time you are doing it, it's really daunting because you might give
Mhm.
presentations in your home country, right? In Pakistan, India, UAE, Indonesia, and you know the way they're thinking, what they want to hear, and then you can just present according to that. But then you're in another country with people who don't, you have no idea what they want to hear and the tone in which you have to deliver your presentation. So that is a big challenge. And I think that every international student who can overcome that is a big success with it. So I agree with Asad on that front. So okay, I have a question now for Roni and Asad. We'll start with Roni. So Roni, Asad, for all those who don't know, Asad's big sister right now is working in the UK, and she did her residency, if I'm not mistaken, from the UK. Roni, on the other hand, of course, is from UAE. So I'll start with Roni. Roni, you've lived most of your entire life in UAE, and the life over there is something which a lot of Pakistanis are familiar with because it's a place which is very commonly traveled by Pakistanis.
Mm.
So, how would you compare the life in general in UAE, the lifestyle, the way the people are, uh, to what you saw in Malaysia? Because that is, I think, definitely a point to relate to for a lot of Pakistanis.
For sure. Okay, so for starters, let's compare Dubai to Kuala Lumpur, given both of them are
Okay.
big cities. From what I've seen in Dubai in comparison to Kuala Lumpur is that Dubai has a lot more of a strict working culture and a
Yeah.
almost overworked working culture as well. Commonly, you can find companies here, especially the private sector, to employ people from 9 to 6, 6 days a week. Where in comparison to Kuala Lumpur, I don't think that is the case. Very rarely it is. And another thing would be the type of life you'd find here in Dubai. It's more like flashy, bling bling, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the more common approach. So that because of that, sometimes creating proper connections with people there is not
Yeah.
as good, or because
Yeah.
everyone's there just to make money and they just leave, or they're there for some sort of benefits and they leave. So I found that Kuala Lumpur, especially since the people there are actually living for a long time and they call it their home in comparison to here, you can easily blend in more in a way. And that too, given that Kuala Lumpur is also as, I would say, as diverse as Dubai. So in terms of that, I would say that both of them are good, but in Kuala Lumpur, you can find a more welcoming approach maybe and a easier or much more comfortable working experience.
Mm. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because there is definitely a lot of bling in UAE, and a lot of Pakistanis who travel there probably witness that too. So
Yeah.
it's good to hear. The difference is actually how what you can experience in Malaysia versus what a lot of people already find in UAE. So what would you say? Which experience you like better? Which kind of life you like get better? Of course, you're back and working in UAE, but if you were to compare generally,
I think job prospects in the long term, Dubai might be better. But more of a lifestyle, I would say Kuala Lumpur is better. Dubai, again, given that it's very
yeah,
competitive, very commercial, so you'll find all types of businesses, all types of new ventures every day. So with that, it gives you a good idea of how everything that's happening. For example, Dubai is a lot more, or UAE is a lot more crypto friendly in comparison to Malaysia. So you'll see ATMs almost around the streets sometimes
yeah,
in certain areas. So it's a lot more intertwined with the global trends as well. So job aspects, salary wise, lesser taxes than Dubai. But if you're looking more to an easier, more enjoyable, more connected lifestyle, I would say Kuala Lumpur. You have nightlife, you have restaurants, you have Kuala Lumpur in itself is bigger than Dubai, so you have more places to go around. Malaysia itself is bigger than UAE, a lot more people to interact with. So if you're looking more onto the job prospects of things, probably Dubai for the most part, and less taxes. And if you're looking more for easier, nicer, more enjoyable social and living experience, and that too cheaper, then Kuala Lumpur, I would say.
mm. So also David, back to you. Your sister, of course, did a residency and is now in UK, and both of your brothers also experienced how Malaysia was. So you probably can relate to how the differences are between UK living wise and also studying there wise compared to Malaysia. From what you've had the conversations with your sister, what differences would you say that you saw between the both countries?
So there's stark differences, of course. My sister is doing her super specialization in the UK. So for her, it was not as simple as it was for me because my brothers had already done their bachelor's degree from Malaysia, so they had an
Yeah.
idea of how it worked over there. And it is not that complicated, to be honest to you. We all can agree to that,
Mm.
I think, because
Yeah.
it is pretty simple from upfront. They hold your hand, basically
Yeah.
hold your hand from the airport.
Yeah.
There is a person who comes to the
Yeah.
airport, picks you
Literally.
up, does your stamping, and then he takes you to your residence or the
Mm.
university. That's how much in touch they are with you from day one.
Mm.
So it is in that sense, it is pretty simple. The accommodations are close by to the university. Everything is pretty well planned, and it is made especially for students. So you won't have a lot of difficulties in the terms of logistics or anything in that regard. Where you're going to stay, where you're going to eat, and going to the university transportation. It is all planned out for the student to make it easier for him. So, but on the other hand, for my sister, it was a more difficult process because she had to go through figuring out where to stay, where to get the food, or the transportation to her hospital. on her own. There were not many people. There was nobody essentially to help her out in that sense. So she had to mainly figure it out on her own. But UK, of course, is an amazing country. So having that is a good benefit. But compared to Malaysia, she has to mainly figure out most of the things herself. Uh, I think mainly because it's a super specialization. So you
Yeah,
have
I mean,
to essentially do everything on your
for
own. And I did my bachelor's degree from Malaysia. There are big differences, but if you want to start off somewhere, Malaysia is a good place to start off because as I said, they hold your hand from the first day.
what about the cultural differences? Any idea about that from what you see in your sister's daily life versus your daily life in Malaysia? What about the cultural differences between both the countries?
Cultural differences, of course, there are cultural differences. Malaysia is, you can say, you know, I think I cannot tell you mostly about the cultural differences between UK and Malaysia because I have not studied in UK.
Mm.
Because having experienced cultural differences firsthand is a lot different to
Yeah,
hearing it from somebody. Because experiencing it from firsthand, I can tell you how it is like different from Saudi Arabia to Malaysia.
yeah,
But I know a little bit about UK, but I think that would be better to ask my sister about it. But she has not studied in
makes
Malaysia,
sense.
so yeah. But of course, there are differences. The way people in UK live, way in people in Malaysia live. There is more order in Malaysia, you can say, because they have a more strict lifestyle in the sense of when they go to work, how they work, what do they do after work. And in the UK, they start the morning by beer, so you can understand the differences. So
No, I mean, yeah, for sure. No, you're completely right about that. And to be very honest with you, the reason, of course, why your sister's time was a lot more tougher is because residency programs and specialization programs, you have to be a lot more independent. And I mean, university life in UK is a bit more similar. In our case, the way they come and pick you at the airport and they take you to the university and have your enrollment done. But you're completely right that you do need a higher level of independence when you go to the UK because that's how their culture is generally. It's not only about specialization residency, they expect you to generally be more independent and do things yourself. That's just how the culture is also.
for exactly, so for our family it is a lot easier for us to adapt and do more things independently because we have been brought up outside of our home country and we've moved around a lot, so it becomes easy for us to adapt. That's why I always suggest everybody to send their children to a different country to do their universities, to do their bachelor's degree, because it opens your eyes up to a whole different world. You become more independent and you start understanding things a lot more differently, more maturely, which is very helpful, I'd say, moving forward. Staying in your comfort zone is not always going to be beneficial for you in the long term.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it has made all four of us more independent, having
yeah.
going outside of our home, out of the comfort zone of our parents, and starting a whole new life on our own, finding food, transportation. We used to talk about what dinner we're going to eat for like 1 hour, 2 hours, and in the end we just order what we wanted to order individually.
That is a problem with a lot of international students, actually. A lot. It's everywhere because, I mean, unless you cook every day, you have to
Yeah,
sit down and figure out what you're going to eat. So,
yeah. That makes you more independent. It's not like you have been fed all your life. Now you have to figure out what to do, which is
oh, 100
fun.
percent. Especially if you're in a country like, imagine, like, we have a friend who couldn't make it today who went to Australia and transferred from Monash, Malaysia to Australia. In Australia, most of the restaurants close after 8, 9. So, like, you really need to figure out what you're going to eat at night. Otherwise, you're going to just stay
Yeah,
hungry. So,
yeah.
that is a big problem in a lot of international places where you go and pursue your education for sure. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about education and culture and stuff like that. I want to come to one of our last topics, which is very important. So, there's a big misconception amongst international students, right, who won't go to Malaysia from Pakistan, that the reason they don't want to go is because, of course, number one, it's as comparatively unheard of. And number two, they don't think it's a good country to generally be in, right? Because there's so much glam attached to UK, Australia. US, that they think the Western world is where everything's at, and they think they won't be able to have fun. And if I'm speaking openly, just party, go to the clubs, and do what they want in places like Malaysia. Right? We all are here, different nationalities, different uh, religions, ethnicities. So, what can you speak about that? Like all of you, can you have fun? Can you go out? Can you do all of that in Malaysia?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can have fun in Malaysia. There's so many cultures in Malaysia, like there's Chinese, Indian, Bengali. There's so many cultures there. So when you go to Malaysia, you meet so many new people, so many new culture, new languages, and the big culture that I noticed there is the tea culture there. So I think Pakistani and Indians, I
Yeah,
really miss the tea culture in Malaysia. You can just go out at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., have tea. You don't necessarily have to drink to have fun, but you can have tea and, chat with your friends from other countries. And to
this
be
is
honest,
a
I really
big
miss that.
message. This is a big message for all those Pakistanis who are coming to Malaysia, because all of you are either at
Yeah.
home coffee or chai lovers, and I was one too, and that's probably why Sherine is also saying this. Also, there's two comparatively, but less than me. There's a big chai culture. They just have a different word, the tariq for it in Malaysia, but it's basically the same thing. And they also have concept of staying up late to 2, 3 a.m. and having tea and just chilling and talking. It is extremely similar in a better way in comparison to Pakistan than you can actually think. So that is definitely a positive. Uh, Asad,
Yeah,
Ronnie, anything else you want to add?
it's definitely the misconception that the Western world is where it's at. It needs to die down slowly, and everybody is realizing that, and it is slowly dying down. But if a person really has his mindset at going to Western places like UK, Australia, America, or so, you can still go to Malaysia and have it as your stepping stone to go to that country. It makes it easier for you to do so. Like you mentioned our friend, she did she studied from Monash and then she finished her degree in Australia, so it was a good help for her. And the university we studied in Malaysia it's a top 40 university. So having that as a certificate has a great weightage for you if you want to get a job in any country. If you want to get a job in Australia, but sadly in Malaysia it's going to be hard for you to get a job because of the rules and regulations they have set for international students. So, but it's a top 40 Australian university. The weightage of the certificate is strong enough for you to get a good enough job in a different country. But you will have to do the legwork and find it yourself. You're having to apply for jobs vigorously. And in terms of having fun, it's a country, as Shireen said, with different cultures. So you have different types of ways you can have fun. If you and going to clubs and all of that is not necessarily the only way to have fun, but that is also there. You have the clubs, you have the chill spots where you can go sit down and drink tea for hours and hours, and you have other places where if you need a loud environment to have fun, then you have that as well. So it is a country essentially built for tourism. So you will find a lot of touristic activities over there to make it enjoyable for you, other than the important thing, which is education itself.
Ronnie, anything you want to add?
But yeah, we can all say proudly that we had a lot of fun.
Oh,
Although we
100%.
went through COVID, we had around a
There
year or
would,
two.
yeah,
We had a lot of fun.
I mean, there would be no reason for me to sit over here and vouch for Malaysia if I did not have a lot of fun over there. I mean, like I said, a lot of our clientele is geared towards going to UK, Australia, US. So it's quite easy for me to just sit and be like, UK is great, US, Australia is great. But for me to actually vouch for Malaysia and go out of my way, there's definitely a reason for that. And I want to show that to everyone by calling you guys on today. Ronnie, would you like to add something?
I want to build up as to what Shireen and Asad were saying. And yeah, nightlife is great, honestly. The tourism aspect of things, as Asad also pointed out, is also very true. You'll find your kind of people anywhere, in a sense where there are people who love cars, there's car meets, the car culture is crazy, football culture is crazy, music culture, they have always events happening. You will find everything, all different types of activities. The landscape is also amazing. They have amazing beaches, the islands you can go to as well, simply driving around as well. is amazing. The country is big. You have a lot of places to go. You got, for example, Penang Island, which is known for its food. You have Langkawi, which is known for its party scene. You have Fort Dixon again for the beach and stuff. So you'll find all type of activities that you may look for. And given a city life as well, it is very much there. You go anytime, more or less, you'll find some sort of cafeteria. You can have tea. If you're lucky, there's a football match happening, then you'll see half of your friends over there. So it's always a great time. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And the food is
I just want
amazing
to.
as well.
Mhm.
What kind of food do you like, Asad?
All kinds of foods. So, as you know, Sam, I'm a very big eater myself. So, we the all kinds of cuisines are there. Having a diverse culture in your country allows you to have different kinds of foods. If you are a foodie and you would like to eat different kinds of foods, this is a great place to do so.
Uh, for all those, I mean, most of you don't know. I don't think anyone watching this podcast would know, but like Asad was my roommate back in Malaysia. So we shared an apartment together, and Roni and Sherine were very close friends of mine in Malaysia. Two of my probably all these three were one of my best friends in Malaysia. We had a lot of fun, and I just want to add about Malaysia in general for those who have so much misconceptions in about going to Malaysia. If you want to go out and have fun in a club, you can do that, right? If you want to just have tea and go out at night, you can do that. And it is really multicultural, but also quite multi-religious in the sense that you've got Muslims over there, you've got Buddhists, you've got Christians. So it has something for everyone. And you'll find mosques, you'll find temples, you'll find churches. So it has something for everyone. And Sunway, where we were staying, I think a lot of you would probably know it by Sunway Lagoon. The area where we were staying is a extremely student-led place. So you've got students all around that area, and that's where Monash University is located, along with other universities like INTI in Subang Jaya, which is also that area. And then another university is Sunway University over there. So these universities offer you a quite diverse student life, and it is a proper student life. In UK, those students who go, they actually have a very common complaint that how you see in the movies that there's a campus and it has four walls, and then you enter the campus and then it's amazing and stuff like that. And then they go to UK and they get disappointed. And you know why, guys? Because in UK there is no university with closed doors, which means like in Monash in Malaysia, we had a gate and then there's a university within the gate. In UK, there's just random buildings, right? Open in the open where you go for your classes. So the concept of a closed university area is not there in the UK. And that's weirdly a big complaint for students who go to UK because they've been so romanticized by movies that there's a closed campus and everyone's just having fun and bonding over there. So that is not the case in Monash, in Malaysia or Australia for that fact. And it is definitely an amazing place to be. So I'm not going to elongate this podcast. I just want each of you to just give closing remarks about your experience in Monash University of Malaysia and one reason why people should go.
Who
Yeah,
would
I
like to
would
go first?
say, yeah, I would say I would definitely recommend such a place. I'm very, very glad that I get to meet these beautiful people as well as to experience Malaysia in such a way. Um, I think most people, 99% won't regret it. And it's a good balance of everything. You have your education, you can grow as a person, job prospects, close proximity to other parts of Asia. Singapore is also right there. Australia, Japan is all right there. So you'll experience such a type of life that is so different. Again, coming from someone from the Middle East, that is in such a good way. Again, as Simon was saying, like it's balanced. You have your churches, you have the temples, yet you have the typical city life. You have activities for all sorts of people. So I would definitely recommend such a place. I think it's essential for everyone to step out the comfort zone, as Asad was saying, and to experience other cultures, also as Shireen was saying. So I would, I'm really happy I made this decision, and I would recommend it for everyone. So
Shereen?
Yeah, so basically, my closing remarks are I never regretted going to Malaysia, and I met so many people in Malaysia that are such amazing people who helped me grow as a person. And I'm glad that I can find friends who I can call family in another country, which I really did not expect that at all. I thought I'll just go there to study and have fun a bit, but I never thought that I would find friends who would like share memories with. And so, with such countries that has a lot of cultures and different religions, I feel like you guys can really learn a lot as long as you have an open mind and just want to have fun, I guess.
So,
Yeah, for me in the beginning, it was nerve-wracking. It was not easy because you've lived your life 15 years in one country with the same people around, same friends, same environment, same atmosphere. I was in Saudi, so it was extremely hot all the time. And as soon as I landed in Malaysia, it started raining. So that was my first experience over there. It was the rain. So you realize as soon as you land over there, okay, you're in a foreign country all alone without your friends and family you've had all your life. So you are a little bit nervous, but as you once you step into the university, you go to your first class, you start communicating, start socializing with people. You start realizing how often out of the world experience this is, that you have this opportunity to go outside and experience this. And it's just I would say one of the best experiences I've had in my life. It was getting to be more independent, learning more about different cultures, and making friends such as yourselves. And it all collectively it made for an experience, a good learning experience, amazing learning experience, which I will carry forward and suggest anybody to go to Malaysia or any foreign universities, because it's gonna be an amazing experience for you. And you will learn a lot of things about different cultures, being more independent. You will learn to stand on your own 2 feet, although you're not earning, but you're still living on your own. You will make
yeah,
mistakes for sure, but this is living alone is the best time to learn from your mistakes and move forward. So it is, at the end you get to meet such great people, and who you might find the opportunity to be friends with the rest of your life. It's an amazing experience, amazing thing to have. So why not? It was amazing.
yeah, that's really nice to know. And I'm going to close off the podcast just before I say one thing, and that is that there's a lot of people who come to us and they say that I want to go to a cheaper country than UK, Australia, US, and when we suggest Malaysia, they don't really consider it as much as an option. And it only is not with the students, but also the mindset of the parents. So I would really urge that after this podcast, I hope that we can at least change the minds of few people who have a tight budget. The economic situation of Pakistan is not the best, and do not just say that no, I won't go abroad if I can't go to UK, US, and then actually look towards country like Malaysia, because it is definitely a good country to study in. It will save you a lot of money, and even if you can financially afford other countries, you can think of it as a return on your investment, because you can then use that money and then you can maybe do your masters from another country as well. So it is definitely a good option to go to study in. And in terms of employment, because that's a question for a lot of people, yes, they have quite a lot of strictness in terms of their employment. Currently, they just got a graduate program, which is like a post study work visa, which UK and US has. It is not applicable, sadly, for Pakistan Indians. And basically, what it is that after you graduate, you can get a 2 year visa to help find a job in Malaysia. But we are hopeful, hopefully, in the next year or so, whenever that does come to Malaysia for Pakistanis Indians, so that you can look for jobs and try to get employment while you are in the country. And, it's not impossible. It is extremely difficult, but if you know the language, if you get internship experiences during your studies over there, if you make the right connections, are part of the right societies, then you can definitely land a job over there, a sponsored job over there, just like you can in UK, Australia, because it's not easy in those countries either. So with all of that said, thank you all so much, for being a part of this podcast. This is the first ever podcast which we are showing international students, genuinely international students from international countries. So it has been an amazing podcast, and thank you all so much for sharing your empowered abroad stories with me.
Of course.
So
Thank you.
thank you all so much. Take care, and till next time, Allah Hafiz.
Love is definitely empowering.
Goodbye.